Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about what to expect Monday morning at the commencement of the jury selection of the first trial ever, criminal trial against a former president. Let me make a general point that I think people, don't necessarily focus on. Law means process. Trump, whose team is always screaming, means more process and time. Secret Service and means process. Trump's right to be at anywhere and everywhere means process. And so I think the first thing we'll see and at least the first chunk of the day on Monday is not a lot. So the important action that is going to take 1 or 2 weeks is the selection of a jury. And fairly early, often at the beginning of a trial, you'll have motions where some like Trump will renew this or that motion or make like logistical points. Could happen here, but Merchan seems to want to run a pretty tight ship. Got a lot of people inconvenienced and hanging out, waiting to be called. So I think he'll want to get to this first pivotal point fairly early where, and by the way, the general schedule of trial, 9:30 to 1 to 2:15, I think, is lunch break. And that's apparently, you can set your watch by it because union rules, a heavily unionized courthouse in New York City, which, makes an interesting little kind of feature in and of itself. And then go till about 4:30 sharp, unless something's right in the middle. And that's 4 days a week. All right. So I think the big moment will come when the first 100 people or so file into the courtroom and sit in the chairs for the audience. And, for any other defendant, you're told by your defense counsel, now, be nice, look honest, look sincere. I don't know if Trump is even capable of that, but what he really seems to me to be not very capable of is sustaining it. So he's going to have to, he would ideally, but he's, as we've established in 18 different ways, the worst client in the world. But, be sitting there, and making a good impression. Just hard to see his sort of default facial gesture, I think, is a glower. I'm like, and discontent. And, people are going to be looking at him all the time. The jurors, they obviously know who he is. And, that's, I think, all kinds of social science about the importance of first impressions, et cetera. And Donald Trump, who spends his life, going where he wants to, when he wants to, and who has the attention span of a termite, is just going to be hard pressed to sit in the chair and continuously, be nice, sincere, etc. That's going to be a big challenge. Okay. So, the basic process is this. Merchan calls 18 jurors at a time to come and file into the jury box. And here they are. We don't, but the defense and prosecution teams have their names. They've filled out questionnaires. And then I think this is unusual, but I've read that Merchan will have them actually go through their answers to the 42 questions. Some of them could be embarrassing or things that people don't want to say in public. And if so, they can say, and the judge will make this clear, I'd like to say this privately, and that would be at sidebar, meaning the judge will turn around and have a kind of quiet little huddle with that juror, but also the defense, they have a right to be there, prosecution, court reporter, and if Trump exercises his right, I suppose there's maybe some secrets, or I don't know. But basically, it's a little bit of time and moving around, and each sort of answer like that's going to take a chunk of time, and now back. It's going to be, in other words, especially as experienced by Mr. ADHD himself, long and boring. Okay, but the basic process is the 18 people will go through and read their answers to the questionnaires. You maybe seen what that includes. Some pretty interesting stuff like, got to stop everything because there's a step that happens before where jurors will get a chance to basically self-disqualify, say, I could never be fair, or I'm good friends with the prosecutor's wife or whatever, or spouse. Normally, those occasions can occasion some probing questions, but Merchan has indicated he's, doesn't want to waste time with it. Basically, people who want the get out of Trump trial free card will be able to put it down and play it. Okay, now we're back to the 18 in the box, and they go through their questionnaires, and then each side has a chance to answer them. I think, by the way, all of this, starting with 18 in the box, maybe even probably doesn't happen until after lunch. This is just going to be a slower you'll be thinking, as we're getting reports from the outside, what the hell? What takes so long? And, it's the legal process, basically. And there are important rules about how you pick a jury, and they can really be, if you mess up, a judge messes up or whatever, a counsel messes up by making a race-based challenge or whatever, that can scuttle the whole trial a few years down the line on appeal. So, it's now time to really take it carefully. You'll have the jurors read their basic answers, and then each party will have a half hour to question them, and this will be interesting. It's theatrical. So sometimes they'll actually say, you said you were that you once came across Trump in a rally. Can you, or just on the street? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? They literally want to know the facts and see, and what impression did you have of him there? But then other times they're using it, even though they're supposed to just be questioning the jurors, to try to condition them. Now that my client is presumed innocent as he's there, are you okay with that? My client has a constitutional right not to testify. If he doesn't testify, can you still be fair to him? And it's really about trying to condition the jury in the kind of propositions of law you want to emphasize, so there'll be a fair bit of that. And then it's time for the sort of dramatic centerpiece of each 18, which are challenges, and much more to say about this. But basically, the big distinction here: challenges for cause versus peremptory challenges. Challenges for cause means you got to state a good reason. When they were on the stand, Your Honor, they said, I don't know if I could be fair. Says so. That's a cause that you've got to bounce that juror. And the prosecution responds, well, that's what they first said. But then when Your Honor asked, or in follow-up, they said, I guess I can be fair. So there's no cause here. And if Merchan rules in favor of the DA, now Trump is put to the difficult choice. They have 10 peremptory challenges, meaning, just because you don't like the cut of their jib, or they looked at you funny, or whatever. You don't, any reason, no reason, assuming it's not based on racial animus. But those are, 10 really valuable tickets. Are you going to play one for this person? So you'll then go to the side with the judge, and each side will, they'll argue that for challenges for cause, which are all, you have an infinite number. If 100 people came in and each of them was, a cousin or whatever, there's no limit to it. So you make all those arguments to the judge decides, and then you make the peremptory challenges the ones just because, and then the judge says, we excuse jurors blank, 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 blank. That'll leave a few in the box, and they are sworn in. We now have a few jurors. And now 18, and we start again. Okay, so that's the basic process. A little bit of stuff at the beginning, and just in general, a lot of it's hard for non-lawyers, including defendants in general, in these circumstances, because stuff's happening. You're not exactly sure what. You're trying to make a good impression. All of these are things, just sort of patience, making a good impression, things that Donald Trump is extraordinarily bad at. Then that leaves the whole point, which will be a separate thing to talk about, if he goes out and trashes the prosecution and some jurors find out about it, and that could be a whole issue. Okay, and I guess I'll just make one final point because people keep asking me, is it for certain that it's going to go on Monday? And again, we have the normal situation and the Donald Trump situation. Whether he'll do something completely bizarre is a matter of his own. How low can he go? How brazen can he be? And with Donald Trump, there's no limit. So we might see some, really last minute effort. The one thing that comes to mind, he could try to fire his counsel, and that's sometimes a last minute ploy, but I don't see the judge going for it here. Maybe all of a sudden somebody gets very sick. But again, you're going to have a very skeptical court here who wants to get going come Monday when everyone's showing up. So, I think it looks really pretty damn clear the train is pulling into the station, and the first criminal trial of a former president ever is starting with the arrival of 100 at a time jurors, and some among whom will be deciding his fate for whether he's guilty as charged of these 34 felonies under New York law. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.